My name is Randy Fairfield, and I'm a teacher and consultant here at Three Rivers Home Leak in the Richland School District, and I wanted to share my TPEP experience with you in the hopes that you might find it valuable. So last year was my first year in the district and in this building, and as such I was voluntold that I would be on a comprehensive TPEP evaluation, and I didn't know what that would mean really until I started getting into it, and I really felt overwhelmed by the depth of the evaluation at first. There's something like, 41 different subcells that I was going to be evaluated on based on these rubrics that seemed pretty detailed, and I felt like, I felt like it was a bit much. And so at first I kind of sloughed it off. I went to some of the meetings in regards to the TPEP that Tony Howard had put on for everybody that was on the comprehensive. And so I was aware of the TPEP process, but it really wasn't until late February that I guess I started to get my act together. What happened was I got a smartphone, and I knew spring break was coming too, and I thought I could work on getting something together like a portfolio over that break. And so the smartphone changed things for me, because when I started thinking about putting the portfolio together, I was thinking, man, there's going to be a lot of paperwork involved, a lot of setup that goes on here, and this is not going to be very much fun at all. But once I got my smartphone, I thought, you know what, I could really digitally represent my work in a quick and easy way through the pictures that I could take with my phone and through the videos I could take with my phone, and build an online portfolio. And I could use that to share with my principal and facilitate some conversation around my evaluation. And so that's what I did. I started taking pictures of all the stuff that I had around my room that I thought was good. I started dragging and dropping files into a Google Drive portfolio that I created, and I'd like to share that with you and how I used that. It was actually really pretty quick and kind of easy for me to do my TPEP documentation in this way, and it ended up leading to some really great conversations with my principal. And really the main thing for me was that this process of going through all of my work and starting to sort it out into these folders that I'd created on my Google Drive that were representative of all the subcells, I started finding that I had a lot of evidence for some of the subcells, and well, sometimes not so much for some of the others. And it gave me the opportunity to recognize as an instructor what areas I really needed to improve on. And so for me, the self-reflective practice of going through my work and going through the TPEP process led to the most growth that I've had as a teacher in my 7 years in the business here. So let me share with you a little bit about how I use the Google Drive, and maybe you'll find that to be a valuable thing for yourself as well. Alright, and this here is my Google Drive. I used Google Drive to create this portfolio here that I used to facilitate conversation between my principal and myself in regards to my TPEP evaluation last year. And you might be asking yourself, well, what is Google Drive? It's basically an online cloud storage system. So rather than saving things to my desktop or my laptop or to a memory stick, or having to send myself an email, I put everything that I use up on the drive now, and that allows me to not have to haul my laptop back and forth and do other clunky methods of accessing my files. It's all up here on the online drive. So as long as the internet's working, I can get access into my files here, and this has made my life a lot easier, especially since I teach 6 different classes, and I'm consulting for 19 different families. I can use this here, this Google Drive, to really help me stay organized. But in regards to my TPEP, I thought, wow, this would be a lot easier to create an online portfolio than it would for me to, waste a whole bunch of paper and take the time to put together a physical one. And with the level of documentation that I needed to do for my work, I felt like making some kind of portfolio would be the best way to go. So here's what I did. I in order to make a Google Drive account, if you have a Gmail or a YouTube already, you have already created a username and password that you would need to then create a drive. If you haven't created an account, then you'll need to do that. But if you just go to Google and you search in Drive, it'll be the first link that comes up, and you can go ahead and head here. And I created a folder that I named TPEP 2013-14, and what's neat is you see where it says shared. So for these two folders here, they're shared with other people. Other people can get in and view my work. I can also set it to where other people can go in and edit. So for these two folders, that's been done. For the others, they're only visible to me. So this folder here has been shared with my principal amongst a few other people that I wanted to here on staff at HomeLink that I wanted to show how I was using Google Drive. And so what would be really neat is I set my principal to where he could edit this here. So I would take digital representations of my work and start to put them here on my Google Drive, and my principal could take evidence that met these subcells and start to put it into this portfolio as well. And then when we get together, we'd have conversation around the evidence that I had in these subcells. So here's where the smartphone started to give me this idea. There's a Google Drive app on my smartphone, and if you have a Samsung or an iPhone, they both have Google Drive apps. And so I just started taking my smartphone and snapping pictures of work around, work that demonstrated evidence of my teaching and that I thought might possibly fit into some of these subcells. So I took my phone and took a picture of the classroom norms that I had posted in my room, of the physical arrangement of my room, of the agenda that I posted up on the whiteboard, and on and on. So I just started documenting my work digitally. I would then take the pictures that I took and occasionally videos, and then since my phone was synced up with Google Drive, I uploaded them, and I had it by default upload to this folder here, except they wouldn't automatically go into all of these subfolders. So then I would take these files, like here's a video that I took of myself teaching, and I would take these files and then start to drag and drop them into these folders here. So for example, if I took a picture of my classroom norms, I'd have to look up at all of these folders and see, okay, well, which one of these subcells does that fit under? And going through that process really helped me become much more aware of what the subcells were. It also helped me realize that there were some areas that I had a lot of evidence for, and other areas that I didn't have much, evidence, if any at all. And so that helped me then go back and realize, okay, geez, this is, maybe this is one that I really need to work on here, because I don't have a whole lot of evidence for that. So this was a really neat self-reflective process for me, and it led to some really great discussions between my principal and I. Alright, I'd now like to share with you a little bit about how you can quickly and easily digitally represent your work as a teacher and then put that work into an online portfolio. So I'm just going to give you this example here. So these subcells here relate to communication, and so I'm thinking, well, any email that I sent out would be communication, right? So how can I take an email that I've sent and then put it into one of these folders? Well, check this out. So here's an email that I sent to my principal, and I let him know that I'm going to be sending this out to parents or guardians of students that didn't make satisfactory progress in one of my courses. 4 questions here. Do you recognize you're struggling in our class right now? What can I do to help you be more successful? What can you do to be more successful? And how can your parents or guardians help you be more successful? And I'm hoping that the response to this email I send out to the parents of my struggling students will lead to a starting point around conversation around how we move forward from here. So need email, I'll let the principal know that I'm going to send it out. I'll tell him which students I send it to. This definitely will fit into the subcells that relate to collaboration with peers and administrators to improve student learning. I asked for my principal's feedback on this email before I sent it out, and he had a little bit of advice for me. I think it will also relate to this subcell here about communicating with parents and guardians. Communication within the school community about student progress. Yes, I'll let the principal know who I send this email to, so I think that would count. And ethics and advocacy. I think I'm kind of going the extra mile here to begin a conversation around student improvement for kids that are really struggling. So I don't know, maybe it would count for that. I could talk with my principal about that, I guess, when we meet up, if this email that I'm sending out and the follow-up that takes place would count for the subcell or not. Okay, so how would I take this email then and get that email into my Google Drive portfolio? I can't just copy and paste an Outlook email, but what I can do is use this neat tool called the Snipping Tool that is in just about probably all of your computers, one of the programs you can use. So if I go here to the Start menu and it says Search Programs and Files, I just start to type in Snip. Oh, look, there it is. Snipping Tool, pull that up. I'm now going to left click and drag around the email that I've sent and let go and watch what happens. This pops up here. Okay, and I can take this and then I can draw on it if I want. Okay, not that I really want to. I can, oh, I guess I can I go back and erase that. And then I can save that snip as a picture. TPEP, evidence, communication. Alright, just give it a name that I'll remember. It's now saved to the desktop. Okay, then I'll go to my Google Drive portfolio. This will be for this year. I'm doing the work right now for this year's TPEP. And then I'll go to, alright, communication, great. Alright, so here's where I want to drag it into. So here's the file. I'm going to take it and dump it in. Alright, I just uploaded the file. And now I'm going to take that file and drag it, left click, drag it, go up, up, or not. Okay, how about I do this? I'll open this up right here, push this little arrow. That'll give me all of the folders. Communication, okay, I'm going to take this and dump it into that one. And now inside that folder I have this picture. And my principal can now take a look at that picture as well. Okay, and say I wanted to take this file here, and I thought that it worked for multiple subcells, so what I can do is hold the control button, and as I hold the control button and left click and drag, let go. Okay, now that picture is in both folders. There's not two separate files, so if I delete this file, it will delete it out of both folders. Okay, so that's how you do that. You hold the control button, left click, drag, and then let go. Alright, and for this last segment here, I'd like to show you how you can share your files and your folders with others. By default, the files and folders are set to just private viewing status, so that only you can look at your stuff by logging into your Google Drive. But if you wanted to change specific folders and files, change the privacy settings for those so that other people can view and even edit your stuff, then you can do that. So right here on the how to do that is just go to the folder or file that you want to share and right click on it. Once you've done that, then you go to the share thing here, then click share, and you can type in the names or email addresses of the people that you want to share your work with. So I'll just make up some email. I already shared this folder here with my principal, so I'll just add zippitydoodah@gmail.com. Alright, and then if I click that, I say they can edit it or they can view it. So I'll just say can view, then I could type a note and say, hey Zippy, you can view my folder now, or whatever. You could send a note to your principal letting him know that you've done this, and that he can go in and edit if you'd like, and drag and drop folders into your portfolio if that's something that you think he would like to do for this process. And then you'd hit the send button and you'd be able to do that. Another option that you can use for sharing your files and folders with others is this here, the shareable link. So what you could do is click that, and now that I've done that, it says anyone with the link can view. So anybody I send this link to would then be able to view my file or folder that I've selected. So this is kind of neat because I use Edmodo quite a bit, and so say I put something on Google Drive and I want to share it with all my students. I can click this here, copy this hyperlink, and then put this hyperlink on Edmodo, and any of my students could then take a look at what I've put on my Google Drive. So it's kind of a neat feature there. You can make it where anyone can either view or edit, but I'm just going to go ahead and turn this off because I don't want to share this TPEP folder with anyone other than my principal and maybe a few others. So off. That's that. Hit the send button, and that would take care of that. So I hope that this whole thing kind of helps some of you out there that are maybe feeling a little overwhelmed by this TPEP process. Really being able to digitally document my work and then make this portfolio is a pretty quick process, and I don't know, it was about as painless, I guess, as it was a lot more painless than I thought it would be. At first I felt like I was going to be spending more time proving that I was doing my job rather than having the time to actually do it. But once I started to do this process here of documenting my work, it started to go really, really quickly. And at first it'll go slow as you figure out, what the subcells are, and figure out, as you go through that self-reflective process and figure out, how the work that you're doing correlates with those substandards. But after you've gotten a little more comfortable and familiar with those subcells, the whole dragging and dropping feature of this Google Drive, using your smartphone, using the snipping tool, these things will really make your life a lot easier, and hopefully will lead to some great discussions about your own practice with your principal and how you can improve. So that's all I've got for you. I hope that helps somebody out there that's interested in maybe using these tools. Have a great day. Have a good 2014-15, and good luck surviving the TPEP. You can do it.